What's cooking, Juventus fan? On today's show, all the sales are final. Everything must go. You want a Sciglio, you got a Sciglio. You want a Rugani, you got a Rugani. You want Aaron Ramsey, you got Aaron Ramsey. Everything must go. All sales are final. Let's get it done. Auctioneer this thing off. Let's go. But for overall, the rest of the show, what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about Sassuolo is changing the rules for the deal when it comes to Locatelli, what we can expect there going forward for the club, especially in the negotiations. We're talking Bernardeschi's future. Are there changes there? What do we know about him? Where do we stand with Bernardeschi, the much maligned Bernardeschi, as well as outgoing transfers for the club? We talked about a few of those names a second ago. What does their future look like? And then, of course, we had to talk about yesterday. Chiesa provided a masterclass for the club, for the international club, for Italy, for the Italian national team, to pull them out of the depths of what felt like could be a possible loss against Austria. He came out and fully Ronaldo'd that ball. I can't even put into words how great it was, but we'll talk a little bit on that. Let's get started. Let's go. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconerizonechannel. My name is Justin Sofro. Today is Sunday, June 27th, 2021. Before we do anything, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned with all things at Juventus. We'll keep you updated every single day, basically at the same time, no matter what. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, please. All right, let's get started. First off, news of the day that we have is regarding Paulo Dybala and his situation with the club. Gazzetta dello Sport is reporting that Juventus have decided to extend Dybala's contract. Contacts between Cherubini and Paulo in July, the negotiations will go on. It appears what it's going to be is 10 million euro and plus bonuses into a max contract kind of deal. It was Allegri who asked for the confirmation of Dybala. So a lot of more of the same that we've been talking about, but it seems good to be some confirmation that Paulo Dybala is going to get somewhere closer to what the range that he's been wanting, 10 million euros, and then you have bonuses for performance-induced, positive performances there. So that sounds good. I'm glad to hear. I know a lot of people, of course, I guess I really kind of misspoke my words when I said about Paulo Dybala, about him being the future, because he's not a young player, but he is. When I mean the future, I mean the immediate future. I mean, Ronaldo's going to be gone from the club, and Paulo Dybala is the foreseeable future what we have as like a superstar when it comes to a striker. So that's where we need, to me, that's where we need to invest our eggs. Anyway, moving forward, we'll go on to the next story of the day. We have Tutto Sport is reporting that regarding Locatelli, Sassuolo are changing the deal, and they're willing to be open to doing a Chiesa type of deal with the club, a long-term loan with an obligation to buy for 40 million euros without adding players to the deal. For all you Juventus fans that are worried about the possibility of losing Dragossi, losing all these young talent, even Rovella, Fagioli, any players like this that you're worried about, potentially losing, because of the swap deal, there's an opportunity for Juventus to do a long-term, pay the 40 million euros out over time and maybe still retain those players. Let me know your thoughts about that. Is that a positive that you want? Would you rather Juventus send out some of these players so that they can get some more experience with a buyback option? What is your preference in this? The only negative I see from this is sometimes when you retain these players and you're not loaning them out or you're not playing them as often, as you don't see the potential where they can grow. Even, what they could do, say, going out to Sassuolo, playing for a couple of years, maybe you have that buyback option to bring him back as a better player overall. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Then in a topic, like I said, the much maligned Bernardeschi. We're going to talk about him. Romeo Agresti basically has a statement confirmation about his situation, basically saying at the moment there are no negotiations underway for an extension of Bernardeschi's contract. This is not a priority for Juventus. So before we, you go one way or the other, basically what we have here is that basically Bernardeschi is going to, he's retained for his contract for how long he has. Maybe after this year, maybe Allegri will step in and say whether he wants to extend his contract, because we do know Allegri he believes that he can make something out of Bernardeschi. He is pretty positive in the player. We'll see going forward what will happen there. But for all the, it's a loud, I'd say it's a majority more than a minority. Or if it's anything, sometimes Twitter can be an echo chamber for a minority. But it's a very loud presence for, Juventus fans that are not happy with Bernardeschi in the club. They want him gone. They want to sell him. They want, whatever possibilities they can have, either, asking Fiorentina to take him back, whatever, that they can try to get him out of the club. But it appears right now it ain't happening. He's not going anywhere. He's not being extended either. But we're just gonna have to have all the players that need to go. I guess Bernardeschi is one that can just, be an outlier sitting in the back waiting his turn. When you have an Aaron Ramsey, you have, Sciglio, and then of course Rugani, who we were unable to, we just loaned out last year. So he's just going to be able to kind of not muck his way, but just kind of play it low key, stay under the radar, and just end up staying in the club for another year. We'll see what happens with him going forward. And then we got Gazzetta dello Sport reporting on the preseason with Allegri, stating that Allegri has decided to hold the entire preseason, 14th or 15th of this is June, but I think what it means is July, at Contenassa. There will be 3-4. I think that's a date. I apologize if I'm wrong. Anyway, there will be 3 to 4 friendlies against top teams in Italy and Europe. So that's pretty exciting, especially if you're going to have all the teams coming in and playing locally at Juventus and see how they will compete against them. So it's just something to keep an eye on. But that's kind of news. That's also an opportunity when you have these preseason matches to bring in, these players. And he mentioned, they mentioned about him wanting to bring in Pellegrini, these Ravella, see how they do. Fagioli, all these players come in, see how they play, and see how they compete against, the higher level competition to see if they're ready to be a part of this club right now. And then we've got the Calcio Mercato. We got a few reports. This is all about selling players, and this is just the wrap up of our show. But it's like the main story. Well, it's not the wrap up. We have one more thing I want to talk about. But the main story that we want to talk about is Calcio Mercato is talking about selling players. Juventus wants to sell Ramsey, and he wants to leave. His preferred destination is Arsenal. However, his wages remain a problem for teams like West Ham and Crystal Palace, who are also interested. Yes, these, lower level Premier League clubs may not be able to pay what Juventus is paying him, and what maybe Juventus shouldn't have been paying him from the beginning. But that's how it works out. Tutto Sports saying there have been many inquiries for Rugani, Fiorentina, Bologna, Genoa, Besiktas, and Betis Sevilla have all asked for the player. However, nothing concrete for now. The feeling is that Allegri will decide what to do. So, yeah, Allegri's, when it comes to Rugani, that's one of the players that Allegri may, I think Rugani and Sciglio, we don't know what he may do if he wants to maybe for some reason retain them. Again, my position on the thing, Rugani, by any means possible, leave the club, because after what I saw in 2019, 2020, I don't need that back in my defense. And then Tutto Sports also saying that Juventus are not looking to keep Sciglio, Villarreal, and Everton are interested. So 2 names to keep an eye on. Again, thank you. We don't need, I appreciate you for what you did in the club when you did it, but it's time to move on for all parties considered. Then Corriere dello Sport is saying that PSG is interested in Arthur. Juventus want to avoid a capital loss, a loan or swap deal with cash for the options. PSG is willing to include Mitchel Bar in the deal. Yeah. Of all the players that we really need to be including, I think PSG has some better options than this player. If Juventus is looking to sign him, I would rather look somewhere else. I think Arthur is probably worth more than this player is currently. If it were up to me, I'd retain Arthur instead of these other, instead of adding anybody else like that. That may just be loose baggage going forward. We'll see what happens going forward, but that's just something to keep an eye on. There's a lot of players. And then just the final news story of the day. I'm sure everybody saw it. All eyes were on the Italian national team yesterday. It was a long, I think, the first half was fine. And then we got to that second 45 minutes of the match. And, it was a slog. It was difficult to watch. It was, for all the excitement that we have with the Italian national team of the streak that they are going on. They still have a streak of 31 undefeated matches, and that's great. Unfortunately, they dropped the what's called scoreless, clean sheets or whatever, record that they've been, or record or streak that they've been on. But it got nervous at the end. We had an offside goal that was pulled back for Austria. That would put Juventus would put Italy down 1-0 during that. But then in the 95th minute, Chiesa just pulled this beautiful maneuver, and I wish I could show it. I wish I could play it on here. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure we've all seen it. We're all fans right there. We all watched it. For the most part, I imagine if you're a Juventus fan, not just being a fan of Italy, but just being a fan of football, period, you're probably going to be watching that match when it happened. But just the maneuver he made to save that ball while shaking the defender and then to put it in off the side of his foot like that was just beauty. It was one of the most beautiful goals I've ever seen scored, and it just made me so happy that it was a Juventus player, that it was Chiesa, who to me is the future of Juventus, and hopefully now Mancini can see maybe the future of the Italian national team. Like, that's the one thing. I try not to, I'm a believer in what Mancini's doing. He obviously knows what he's doing because the teams are playing very well. But and I kind of just sat back when they're doing the arguments between Locatelli, Verratti, whoever playing like that. To me, I would have Locatelli in over Verratti. I just didn't see, especially after last match. I don't know if it's coming off an injury, coming off whatever. I just don't see that Verratti still has what it is to be the top guy there in the midfield. So I think I'd rather have Locatelli playing in that position. He's really shown out. The first couple of matches of the Euros, he really showed what he can do. And then Chiesa, to me, and I understand the Berardi love, but there's a reason Berardi's playing at Sassuolo, and the reason why he doesn't want to move on and why he's been pushing to stay at the club over and over and over. He doesn't have that, whatever it is, he doesn't have whatever it is to play at the top level. Maybe not. Maybe he will move this. We'll pay attention to the Mercado this year to see if he actually does try to go to an AC Milan or somebody like that. But as it stands right now, I just don't know that I can't discredit some of the goals that he's put up, but I just don't think that he has what it is to be the top guy for the Italian national team. But I don't know why I keep saying top guy, but you know what I mean. One of the premier strikers there for the national team. Of course, the same could be said for Immobile. Immobile, though, has seen some, he's put in some. He's had some solid shots on goal, even though not all of them have hit their mark. But to me, I just don't know how you can leave Chiesa out of this. When you've seen what he's done for Juventus, you've seen him take off this season. And I understand maybe Mancini's seeing something different in the in training sessions and all like that. And yes, you do have the best of the Italian best that you have currently to pick from. So it's easy to maybe miss out on some of that. But there's no way that you're not seeing what Chiesa has performed and what he did for the club this last season. I think Chiesa, to me, will be one of the main cogs in the future going forward. I hope I'm right. I'm hoping he doesn't get left behind because he kind of proved why he should be there right now. So let me know your thoughts below. Am I too much of a homer when it comes to Chiesa and my love for this player and just the effort? It's the passion that he plays with. It's more it's that grinta, what I'm saying, the hustle that he plays with is the reason that I'm so invested in Chiesa, because not many players show that on the field at all times. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and your comments below. I'm giving all the situations we talked about. Bernardeschi, if you want to hate on Bernardeschi some more, if you want to talk about the Paulo Dybala situation, if you want to talk about who's out, getting them out of here, and then most importantly, maybe not most importantly, but what are your thoughts when it comes to the Locatelli situation and possibly Sassuolo going forward with just doing a long-term deal monetarily, rather than adding players in there to bring that down. Let me know your thoughts. What's your preference? What do you prefer down below? But that's all the news I have for you today. Make sure to check in with us tomorrow to get the latest roundup of all things covering Juventus. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help our channel grow, and we'll be able to provide you more and more content going forward. Like I said, this is honestly just the first few weeks of the show, and I've already been impressed with the turnout we've had from you all, and you make it worth doing this every single day. So I appreciate every single one of you that comments, that likes, that does all that. It really means a lot to be able to do this, and it's really helpful for us going forward. But make sure also to go ahead and hit that bell icon to stay notified. As soon as our latest video drops, you'll get it. You'll get all that news hot and fresh right out of the oven, and before it's all musty within an hour or two. You never know how with how quickly the news cycle runs, especially right now when the Mercado is heating up, and especially once it hits on July 1st. Go ahead and follow Bianconerizone at Bianconerizone on Twitter and Instagram, and follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri, and of course right now, especially Forza Azzurri.